जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto Chapter 3 Text number 20. Please repeat after me. Sattvam trilokasthitaye swamayaya Svatvam trilokasthitaye swamayaya Bhivarshi shuklam khalu varnamatmanaha Bhivarshi shuklam khalu varnamatmanaha Sargaya raktam rajasopabhritham Sargaya raktam rajasopabhrumhitam Krishnam cha varnam tamasa janatyaye. Krishnam cha varnam tamasa janatyaye. Sattvam triloka sthitaye swamayaya. Bibarshi shuklam kalu varnamatmanaha. Raktam rajasopa brimhitam. Krishnam cha varnam tamasa janatyaye. Gaya raktam rajasopa brahmitam. Krishnam cha varnam jamasa janatyaye. Sattvam triloka sthitaye swamayaya. Bibarshi shuklam kalu varnamatmanaha. Rajasopa brahmitam. Krishnam cha varnam tamasa janatyaye. Sattvam triloka sthitaye swamayaya. Vibharti shuklam kalu varnamatmanaha. Sargaya raktam rajasopa brahmitam. Krishnam cha varnam tamasa janatyaye. Word to word translation. Sahatvam. Your Lordship, who are the same person, the Transcendence. Trilokasthitaye. To maintain the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Swamayaya. By your personal energy, Atma Mayaya. Bibharshi. Assume. Shuklam. The white form of Vishnu in goodness. Khalu. As well as. Varnam. Color. Atmanaha. Of the same category as you, Vishnu Tattva. Sadgaya. For the creation of the entire world. Raktam. The reddish color of Rajoguna. Rajasa. With the quality of passion. Upabramhitam. Being charged. Krishnam cha. And the quality of darkness. Varnam. The color. Tamasa. Which is surrounded by ignorance. Jana atyaye. For the ultimate destruction of the entire creation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. My Lord, your form is transcendental to the three material modes. Yet, for the maintenance of the three worlds, you assume the white color of Vishnu in goodness. For creation, which is surrounded by the quality of passion, you appear reddish, and at the end, when there is a need for annihilation, which is surrounded by ignorance, you appear blackish. Purport. Vasudeva prayed to the Lord, "You are called Shuklam. Shuklam, or whiteness, is the symbolic representation of the absolute truth because it is unaffected by the material qualities. Lord Brahma is called Rakta, or red, because Brahma represents the qualities of passion for creation. Darkness is entrusted to Lord Shiva because he annihilates the cosmos. The creation, annihilation, and maintenance of this cosmic manifestation are conducted by your potencies. Yet, you are always unaffected by those qualities. As confirmed in the Vedas, Arirhi Nirguna Sakshat, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always free from all material qualities. It is also said that the qualities of passion and ignorance are non-existent in the person of the Supreme Lord. In this verse, the three colors mentioned, Shukla, Rakta, and Krishna, are not to be understood literally in terms of what we experience with our senses, but rather as representatives of Sattvaguna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. After all, sometimes we see that a duck is white, although it is in Tamoguna, the mode of ignorance. Illustrating the logic called Vakanda Nyaya. The duck is such a fool that it runs after the testicles of a bull, thinking them to be a hanging fish that can be taken when it drops. Thus the duck is always in darkness. Vyasadeva, however, the compiler of the Vedic literature, is blackish, but this does not mean that he is in Tamoguna. Rather, he is in the highest position of Sattvaguna, beyond the material modes of nature. Sometimes these colors, Shukla, Rakta, Tata Spitaha, are used to designate the Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Lord Shirodakashayi Vishnu is celebrated as possessing a blackish color. Lord Shiva is whitish, and Lord Brahma is reddish, but according to Srila Sanatana Goswami in the Vaishnava Toshini Tika, this exhibition of colors is not what is referred to here. The real understanding of Shukla, Rakta, and Krishna is as follows. The Lord is always transcendental, but for the sake of creation, he assumes the color Rakta as Lord Brahma. Again, sometimes the Lord becomes angry, as he says in Bhagavad Gita 16.19, Tanaham dushatah kruran samshareshu naradaman kshipami ajashram ashubhan asurishu eva yonishu. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. To destroy the demons, the Lord becomes angry, and therefore he assumes the form of Lord Shiva. In summary, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always beyond the material qualities, and we should not be misled into thinking otherwise simply because of sense perception. One must understand the position of the Lord through the authorities or Mahajanas. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28, Eche cham shakalah pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Enam Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasyata Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaurabhaktaranda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. My Lord, your form is transcendental to the three modes. Yet for the maintenance of the three worlds, you assume the white color of Vishnu in goodness. For creation, which is surrounded by the quality of passion, you appear reddish, and at the end, when there is a need for annihilation, which is surrounded by ignorance, you appear blackish. So we see here, there is a description of the Lord accepting the three different modes for the running of the universe. There was once the sages wanted to test who is the greatest among Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva. Right? They sent one sage to find out. Who did they send? Bhrigumuni, right? So first Bhrigumuni goes to Lord Shiva. And he is disrespectful to Lord Shiva. What does he do? Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. But what does Bhrigumuni do to Lord Shiva to incite his? So I thought it was the Lord Vishnu finally through hitting, Brahma through words. And Lord Shiva through what? You're always surrounded by all these things. Yeah. So when Lord Shiva is insulted by words, and Lord Shiva gets angry, right? And what does he do? I keep forgetting what he does. What does Lord Shiva do? Parvati holds him back. And when for Brahma, he also gets upset. And what does Brahma do? Yeah. He doesn't offer obeisances, but what does it do to him? I'm getting old, I'm forgetting this. Brahma chastises him in directly? Anybody remember? And chastises him for that. Then he goes all the way to Lord Vishnu. This one I remember very clearly. And now Lord Vishnu is lying on Anantasesha, and Mother Lakshmi Devi is massaging his feet, and his eyes closed. And Bhrigu Muni says, "Hey, he's not recognizing that I've come over here," and he hits him on his chest with his feet. And Lord Vishnu gets up. Mother Lakshmi is a little taken aback. What is this? No. Supreme Lord, and who is this Bhrigu Muni doing this? And she gets quite upset. But Vishnu gets up and says, "Oh, Bhrigu Muni, I'm so sorry. You are such an exalted saint. You have come here and I did not even recognize that you have come. I'm so sorry." And at that time, Mother Lakshmi is still angry. Then she curses Bhrigu Muni, saying that you and your whole dynasty, all of you Brahmanas, will always be poor. You will not have my blessings, which is a blessing in disguise. So we see that. Can you imagine? The most egregious form of disrespect was given to Vishnu, but Vishnu is very, very silent about it, and does not even take cognizance of what was done. So the Shastras are talking about this to illustrate the importance of Sattva Guna in the lives of devotees. As we saw in this verse as well, right? Prabhupada is saying that in the purport, the Shastras mention that the modes of ignorance and passion do not exist in the Supreme Lord at all. And we see that Brahma, Lord Brahma, is a very exalted living entity. He has to take different forms for the creation of the universe. He has to create, and he has to play, he has to be closely associated with the modes of passion. And sometimes we see that results in a little bit of mishaps here and there. Right? Now, what are some of the examples when Brahma loses his composure? Right? Anybody remembers? Yeah, when the four Kumaras, right? He's produced the four Kumaras to create progeny, and the four Kumaras are saying, a very young child said they don't want to even change their body beyond the young age, Kaumara age, and they're telling, "I'm sorry, we're not interested in this. We want to be situated in transcendence." And then what happens? Right? Lord Brahma gets angry, and from his anger, Rudra is created. Right? That's a good example. What other examples? Yeah, I think two different ones. There's a story of the Vak. His own daughter Vak, or is also sometimes called Saraswati. Brahma creates her, and he's overcome by illusion, and he gets attracted to her. At that time, the sages are basically saying, "Okay, you are Lord Brahma. If you act like this, what is the hope for everybody else?" At that time, Bhagavatam explains that Lord Brahma gives up that body, which is mainly the subtle body, and he takes on a new body because that body is contaminated by these thoughts. There is another story in the Padma Purana, in the Vishnu Purana, which is not actually in the Bhagavatam, but it is there in the Vishnu Puranas. It is said that when Brahma creates Swayambhuva Manu, right? He is the starting Manus for the creation of mankind. Along with Swayambhuva Manu, he creates his Swayambhuva Manu's consort, Shatarupa. It is said that Shatarupa, the word Shatarupa itself means, like the beauty of 1,000 people. And so she is said to be exquisitely beautiful. And when she is created, she offers obeisances to Lord Brahma and circumambulates him in respect. It is said that Lord Brahma was so carried away by Shatarupa's beauty that he could not take his eyes off her as he was circumambulating, and that's how the four heads got created. We don't see it in the Bhagavatam, but the Vishnu Puranas explain that. And that time also, he realizes, this happens in a split second, right? This is the nature of this material world. It is not some very deliberate, long-term this thing. It just happens in a second. And then he realizes is this thing, and then he does severe austerities to purify his consciousness and engage back in the Lord's service. So we see that there are instances of such exalted personalities in the Shastras, dealing with these modes, showing the power of the modes. Right? And then for Lord Shiva, which is the famous example? Right? The Mohini Murti. When the Supreme Lord wants to test you, obviously, there is no hope. And so when the Lord, takes the form of Mohini, and in the Bhagavata is explained, as Mohini Murti is, glancing, very beautifully, and then she's playing with the ball and she's moving. Lord Shiva is like drawn. You can imagine if the Supreme Lord wants to test you, there's literally no hope. And then through that whole exercise, we are being taught about, the importance of, that was just an situation created to show Lord Vishnu's extra potency as Mahamaya. So, Lord, when we see all of this, what is the takeaway for us? What is the importance part? So there is that main part is that the three modes of nature are creating this entire universe, or are ruling this world. One has to be able to recognize and understand the modes, and how do we deal with these modes in different situations. Right? That is why it is very important that we learn to discern the three modes. If we are not able to first recognize the modes, how it acts on us. Because you see, it is not about all the time being in the modes. Kala puts you in situations where you switch modes, right? All of us go through these different things. So now how do we make sure and we act and behave in a way, create a lifestyle and surround our activities in such a way that we are able to guard ourselves from going into the lower modes is a necessary aspect of spiritual life. If you do not do that, we can get caught in the lower modes and lose a lot of time. Ultimately what happens, the most precious commodity we have over here is our time or attention that is taken away by Maya. Now, let us think a little bit about what are those markers of the lower modes and what do devotees do, to situate themselves in the higher modes. So when devotees, that's why this whole concept of Brahmana initiation is there in our Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Parampara. And that initiation is given to somebody who has become serious in practicing, and who really wants to advance steadily by utilizing the entire all the potency of our parampara. And then you're given that Gayatri mantra. That Gayatri mantra is the mantras are given to help us to continue to remember the Lord in the three sandhyas, all the 3 times of the day. So just imagine, the modes of nature are so created, the time of the day, like right now, it is Brahma Muhurta, it's in mode of goodness, right? That's why you go outside now, it's all very peaceful, calm, right? There's nobody, like nothing much going on. Very nice breeze will be there, sun will come up. It's very pleasant and very, very favorable. The mind also is in a very calm state of mind. By 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, what happens? So much of activity starts. Vehicles are going this way, that way. There's this thing going on. Somebody comes, garbage truck comes and tuck, 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 sound he'll make. And he'll go, and then somebody else will come, and cars will start coming. There's so much activity going on, Rajoguna. Right? And as the day progresses, by evening time, right, the whole, all the sinful activities start happening in the evening time. Tamoguna starts manifesting. Right? You don't hear of anybody, you got drunk, in the middle, in the early morning, They may drink through the night and they're drunk by morning, but they're not drinking at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning. Right? That's why we say that, devotees, like I always keep saying, nothing good happens after 9 o'clock. We should be afraid of the evening. As soon as possible, we should try to put our mind in good consciousness and go to sleep. But the 3 times chanting of the Gayatri mantra is given as an opportunity for us to take a pause. Right? Pause and just again reconnect to the Lord. Because otherwise so many things happen, your consciousness can go into different things. So it helps you to reconnect, pause, and and it is done at a specific time of the day, so that you're able to do that 3 times a day and still be connected to the Supreme Lord. Right? Now, in terms of devotees, like ability to recognize, like what are the things that cause us to get into Rajoguna and Tamoguna. All of us have duties and responsibilities in the material world. Activities we need to do. We have responsibilities as taking care of the family and this and that. So what are some causes of stress, or this thing that puts you into different modes? Anybody wants to share? Production issues puts you in Rajoguna. Some problem happens and everybody is like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. Right? That's very commonly it happens. I think when things like that happen, when everybody has to do, I think the important thing for us is how do we maintain our equanimity when the outside world is forcing you into lower modes, right? Some of the things that help, when situations like that is, again, if production issues keep happening all the time, that means to say that your code is not proper. Right? You have to work towards stabilizing that, so that it happens once in a while and it's an emergency, you can deal with it. If every day there is a production issue, then you have to change the team. If you cannot change the code, you should change the team. Because you have to create a situation where you are able to practice a little bit of calm. There is no substitute like, oh, I'll do whatever I want and I'll still be in Sattva Guna. There is nothing like that. It never happens. One has to, like, what are the markers of Sattvic living or lifestyle? Like some examples, some markers somebody can give, share. Yes. That's a good one. Yeah. In fact, um, you can do the reverse. By practicing to breathe slowly, you can reverse yourself back into the. That is the whole pranayama exercise, right? That is why they say, when you're agitated, take a deep breath. That is so one of the most powerful ways of calming yourself down. If you want to make it a little bit more transcendental, chant the Hare Krishna mantra while taking a deep breath. What are the other markers of more sattvic lifestyle? Huh? Sattvic food, yes. You're attracted to sattvic foods. Anybody is attracted to rajasic foods and says, oh, I'm used to it, meaning you're used to Rajoguna, that's all. You cannot say that you're eating rajasic foods and you're in Sattva Guna. It's incompatibility. Yes, your tongue might be used to it, your stomach lining might be used to it, but very spicy food, lot of chilies and all these things will cause Rajoguna. There's no escaping from that. So we have to slowly and steadily move ourselves to more sattvic, these things. And typically, afternoon you can eat spices. It's okay. The body's digestive power is the highest at that point. Then also limited. But evening and morning we should try to limit, especially evening. It causes problems. What else? Yeah, contentment with the situation, whatever, because Kala will bring so many things to you. Again, expecting that Kala will not bring challenges to you is also not this thing. Because that's what, see, it takes some time. It took me a long time I used to get very shaken up when I'm not understanding something and to take a decision. Because you're so used to, knowing a thing, I know exactly what to do kind of a thing. That when something new comes, there is so much of ambiguity, it feels like, why is this? I'm not able to understand what to do with this. That is a part of life. Not understanding what to do is part of life. Kala will bring things for you. Patience is needed. You wait for some time. That's why they say sleep over it. You wait for it. Kala will slowly manifest. The clarity comes through iterative process. You think once, you'll get some idea. Most of the times, there is no urgency to take a decision. You can always, it's called option value. There's a business term also for that. There's an option value. If some decision can be delayed, there is some deadline of something, but that decision can be delayed. You know what the decision is. You can take it anytime. But if it doesn't have to be taken and there is no penalty associated with that, then you can delay the decision till it has to be taken. It actually helps sometimes in business and some decision making. Sometimes there is a cost associated with it. Then you weigh the cost versus this thing. Right? Sometimes it's okay. It's not a very expensive thing. So let me delay. And iteratively it comes. You should be comfortable with ambiguity, It's okay to be ambiguous. Right? The other thing that happens is that, there are external triggers that cause anxiety in us. Right? What is the number one trigger for most of you? Children will say parents, parents will say children, husband will say wife, wife will say husband. Our immediate relatives, who are maybe even sometimes parents, parents will say children, like when they grow older, parents can cause you because they start becoming like children and you are becoming the parent. Now you have to become the parent. You also behave like a child, they also behave like a child, then there is no good that will come out of it. Right? See, this is something you should anticipate it will happen. We should realize something. Whatever comes to us, Krishna has sanctioned, and it is part of the prarabdha karma or the opening of the different these things. Those are the different points at which the instruments through which the modes of nature will manifest. Right? So, the one way to try to, what are the ways, in interaction with your family members, you can try to minimize getting pulled into the lower modes? Anybody has some techniques that has worked? Huh? Yeah. Sometimes, it's very powerful to say, and you can give whatever excuse you want and try to go away from the situation. You should do that also tactfully, otherwise that might also incite. You're just walking away and then one more bigger fight will happen. But whoever is in a better mode should try to, like Samatha said, be tolerant and patient and pause. Right? And don't say, why are you getting angry? Why are you getting agitated? This is like, many times we say this, why are you getting agitated? And the point is, that is what will make them even more agitated. It's a known thing that the person is agitated. You don't have to state the obvious. They say, right, stating the obvious. You don't have to state the obvious. There was one Christian pastor, and he's a comedian also. I was sharing with somebody this one. He was saying, if you say, if somebody is agitated, the other person says, I'm so sorry, I behaved in a way that caused you agitation. Right? You acknowledge that you may not have been the cause. That is not the time to say that I'm not the cause, something else. But the person who has the higher consciousness at that point, if they're able to just say, then it just diffuses. Usually what happens, it is not the immediate situation that is causing it. It's never the immediate situation that is causing it. It is always the penting up of different things that causes. And so one should also be able to have regular diffusion points. The pressure cooker in the family pressure has to be released on a regular basis. One magical way of releasing pressure is calling guests over. Because when guests come, now you suddenly clean the place, you do this thing, everybody has to be in the good behavior. Nice. And by mimicking that good behavior automatically comes. It's magical. Especially calling devotees over and having some kirtan, this thing, that thing. These are magical ways. Okay, I'm sure the Lord will teach us more ways to do that. We'll stop here. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Bol Premanandi.
Priya Priti Manti Pasya